Hi everyone and welcome. My name is Mwangala Chakalashi Santos. We're back again to inspire you and bring you life-changing stories that are meant to leave a lasting and positive impact on your lives. It's such a journey that we take together. Have you ever wondered as to what are you here for to do? Have you ever tried so many things and you just can't seem to find that fit? Now we all do, don't we? Joining me in the studios today is Salome Piri. Salome is a founder of Women Up Africa. She is a confident coach and a certified accountant with SCCA. Salome, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Mwangala.
You look stunning.
Thank you.
I was looking at you and I'm thinking, is she a model?
Thank you very much.
It's good to have you on the show, Salome.
Thank you for having me.
So who is Salome before we dive deep into purpose?
Okay, so Salome is a woman who is very true to herself. She follows her heart and she makes sure that whatever she does, she's backed up by what God is instructing her to do. So the way I came about to be this kind of woman is I had to do a lot of self-work. And also, I believe that my past experiences and things I've been through in my life have also contributed to who I am today. So if I go back to my time as a child, I grew up in Namibia. I'm Zambian. My parents are both Zambian, but we grew up in Namibia. And I spent most of my childhood there. So I was exposed to different cultures, that were different from our own as Zambians. So I spent about 20 years in Namibia before I went to pursue higher education in South Africa. Thereafter, I spent time in Cape Town, at the University of Cape Town, where I got my degree in business management. And I spent about 4 years, pursuing my degree in South Africa until I returned home back to Zambia in 2012. And that's where I now pursued a career as an accountant. So, of course, a lot of us are told to, go to school, and then after that, you get a degree, and, you go and find a job. So that's exactly what I did. But I always knew that there was something more to me, and at that time, I didn't know what it was, So I kept on searching, I kept on asking, but as life would have it, I continued just pursuing, what I was at that time, which was a job as an accountant, as an auditor in one of the top big 4 firms at that, So over time, I was just going through life, just going with the flow, as many of us do, but I felt a bit like I was empty inside. And, it was only until I, experienced certain setbacks within my professional career as well as my personal life that I was now forced to look within myself and say, okay, wait a minute, Salome, who are you and what do you want out of life? So during that time when I experienced, particularly in my professional life, I was put in a position where I had to leave where I was working. And at that time, it was difficult to leave, but I felt, the relationship I have with God, I know when God is talking to me, and I just follow the instruction, I'm not saying everybody should leave their jobs, but, yeah. I mean, it just depends on what relationship you have with God, with your Creator, or whichever higher power that, you believe in, yeah. So I believe I was being led to leave that place, and my season there had ended, and I'm grateful for everything that I experienced and learned while I was there, but I think it was just time for me to move on to the next level in my life. So as at that time, just when I left, I also had some personal experiences that literally left me shattered, I'm always quite open about the story,
Would you like to share?
Yes, I'd like to share, and we already had this discussion, and I said I'm going to be free to tell it because I believe in sharing your story can also help somebody who might be going through.
That's what we do exactly. On Ignite, yeah.
So I was engaged, and things were not really working out as well as I thought they would. And I always pride myself in being somebody who's quite strong emotionally. So I just gathered all the strength to say, I don't think this relationship is right for me. And not that the person was bad as a person, they just were not good for me. And I think we need to really know who is right for us, what partner is right for you to actually, follow your dreams and follow your destiny, because, your partner is an essential part of that, you know. And for me, I felt maybe it's just not this person, So after everything just went in a downward spiral, I just said, I just need to walk away. So I gathered all the strength and courage to just say, thank you very much. As much as I was actually engaged to this person and were preparing to be married, but I walked away from that relationship because it was just toxic to my overall well-being and above all, my purpose in life. So I walked away, and now I was left with, okay, what now? I wasn't working. I wasn't in a relationship that I had thought would be my future. So what now? So I think, when we hit rock bottom, that's when we're able to really sort of see and find what exactly, we're meant to do next. Because then you're sort of just left with this sort of darkness, but then it's easier for you to see a light, in the midst of that darkness. And that's what I saw, I experienced. So it was within that time where I now started to look within, and I started searching, I started asking. And it's funny that in those times we draw closer to God, because...
Yeah, it's amazing what happens. I mean, it is in our darkest moments or times that we draw very close to God, and that's the time we find ourselves.
Yes, so that's what happened with me. And of course, I was there asking questions. I said, God, why are you putting me through this? Why me? Why me? So that now, I mean, when I've gone through those dark times again, I just tell myself, don't ask why me. I ask more, like, what are you trying to teach me? Because most of the times God is trying to open your eyes to something, or he wants you to experience something. Not that he wants you to suffer as per se, but it's within that sort of suffering that you gain some new perspective, in life. So that's how I, kept on asking, I kept praying, and, God just sort of put things into perspective for me, and he said, look, there's something that I've called you to do. And I knew it even before I reached that stage. I already knew there was something in me, and it was always my dream to help people. I remember when I was younger, I always used to dream to be a psychologist, because I used to love listening to people and trying to figure out how to help them. But psychology wasn't where I was supposed to be, but it was always in me. I just like to listen, I like to take it in and figure out, how do we help you, So over time, that now became more clear, and I said, oh, I think I want to go more specifically into helping women and into empowering them, because I've been at a point where I was so, like, just low, and I didn't know who I was, and I didn't know what I was about. And I was just so depressed and demoralized, and I know a lot of us are going through that. And I said, I want to help somebody who is also going through something similar. Because at that point, I was also healing, but I felt like sometimes also healing, also helping other people is part of healing. It's like when you just step out of yourself and just say, how can I also help somebody else who might need my help? It also helps you heal in the process. True. So that's what I also decided to do. So I looked within, and I just said, oh, I remember this thing has always been a part of me. I just never had the guts or the courage or the resources, whatever excuse I gave myself, I never pursued it at that time. But then again, there's always a time for everything. I had to just have gone through all that to get where I was, So I just started to think about all of those things I used to dream. And I said, well, now is the time. I've got no, like, real responsibility of, like, reporting for a 9-to-5 job and, reporting to a husband at this time,
No children involved.
No children, So I'm like, then I'm free now to just pursue what has always been in my heart to do. So that's when I now just, went for it. And I just said I've always wanted to host events and have a platform for women to just get empowered, in various aspects of their lives. And that's when I just set up and I started a social media page. And at that time, we were called African Women Redefined. And like I always say, sometimes the things you create are also a reflection of who you are, So I called it African Women Redefined because I felt maybe I needed to sort of redefine myself. Because at that time, I lacked a sense of identity, So I wanted just to say, okay, who are you? And I wanted to bring people on that journey with me, because I know a lot of people are struggling with just finding that strong sense of self, So I just said, no, this is what it's going to be called, and this is what we're going to be doing, you know. So I stepped out and I just said, let me just start. No one had any idea who I was, what I was doing. And I just said, I'm going to do this event. And I just need at least 30 women to come. And we're just going to have, you know, different speakers who will help empower all the audience, the attendees, you know. So I just went for it, you know, and I really am grateful that I was very brave at that time. And people who also helped me on that journey, you know. Like I said, whenever you step out, you know, there's always some help that will come along the way, as long as you're stepping in faith and as long as what you're doing is within God's will for your life. He will always give you the resources, the people, whoever you need to make that come to life. Or
and to make it happen
yes,
for you.
You know.
I love that. Now, before we take a break, Salome, I think there's been an evolution now where everybody's talking about finding themselves, going within. Maybe when we come back after the break, I'd like you to tell us what that is. I mean, how do you find yourself? And we also talk about purpose. So if you're joining us now, we are talking to Salome Piri, who is just sharing her story and is here to also tell us on what her definition of purpose is. Don't go away.
To advertise on this program and enjoy amazing introductory rates, please call us on +260 211 290959 or +260 211 290912 or +260 953 538 000 or send us an email at loyolazam@gmail.com.
Welcome back. I am talking to Salome Piri, and before we went on break, she shared her story. And now, Salome, would like to find out, before we went on break, I was saying I think there seems to be an evolution where everybody's talking about going within, finding yourself to find your purpose. What is that? How is somebody supposed to do that?
I think, you know, definitely it's about going back to your creator, because there's no thing that somebody can make and it doesn't have a purpose for it, you know. Whatever, even if I make just something as simple as a mug, you know, I know it has to function in a certain way, you know, and that is what I intend for it to do. So we are human beings, we're not inanimate objects, obviously. So as our creator, I'm a Christian, so I believe that, you know, I'm created by God and I know he's got a purpose for me. So I always have to get back to him and ask him. And like I said, God communicates to us in different ways. I don't know how he communicates to you and me, you know, it's different. So I've now learned, you know, at least the most part, like I know when God is talking to me and when he's leading me. So like when I was going through my own personal journey, and like it's always a personal journey at the end of the day. It's very unique to each individual. So I can't give you a real step-by-step plan. You know, I
How
can
does
just give
he
you a
talk to you?
guideline.
Maybe I'm interested to find out how he does that for you. It could be similar to me.
That's very true.
Yeah.
But I think for me, I really just try to quiet myself.
Is that meditation?
Prayer, meditation, I think, yeah, I know people say they're different, but for me, I'd say probably prayer first, you know, and just try to just ask. Of course, the answer doesn't come immediately. Sometimes I even laugh. Sometimes the answer can come when I'm taking like a shower or something, and it's like, oh, it just drops, you know, or he speaks through somebody. But, you know, I'm always telling people you need to be expecting an answer. You know, you need to be like ready. Like,
you need to be expectant.
Yes, if you ask, then you need to be ready, and that's the only way you can pick it up, you know. So sometimes to be through people, you know, and sometimes you need a confirmation, and he would like send somebody to talk to you, or it would just come as a thought, you know. So for me, I know when those things happen, I know when it's him, you know. At least I try to really just focus on whether it's him. I keep asking for confirmation, and then I get it, you know, and I act accordingly. You know, I'm not saying I always get it right, but you know, I try my best. You know, it's a learning process.
It is.
You know?
Yeah.
So that's the beauty in it. You don't always get it right, but he always sort of just guides you through it. You know, so definitely it's just asking, you know, getting into prayer and asking, God, what is it that you created for me to do? But also not just asking and sitting.
Asking and doing something.
You need to do something, you know, because he's given us something. He's given us unique talents, gifts skills, that all of us possess each in our own individual way. So the only way you can discover is if you do, So if you try out things like, oh, this is interesting. Oh, I like this. This is really, something that brings me joy. Why don't you just try it and see how far you can go?
Sure.
So I'm always just telling people, look, ask, but then try and just start doing something, within your interests, within your passions, and there you'll find there'll sort of be like that intersection where you now find, oh, okay, I'm passionate about this. This could be leading me to who I am and what I was created to do on this earth. And I always just also emphasize the point that, look, finding your purpose and pursuing it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be a celebrity or you're going to be featuring on TV.
And that's where
we get it wrong.
Yeah,
because sometimes just even in your own home, like, do you want to be a great mother? Do you want to be a great cook? And then that could just be what you're meant to do, and you're happy with it. But as soon as you start comparing yourself to, oh, she's on TV because she's following her purpose, and meaning I
also
not,
have to be on
TV. Because I'm not on TV, maybe I'm not.
Sure.
And that's not the case. So at the end of the day, it's an individual journey, and you just need to really just connect with your creator, your source, and just ask him, what is it that why did you create me? What am I here to do? What is my assignment? And that can only be done with a lot of introspection, like, self-work, looking within and trying out new things in the process. And sometimes asking. Sometimes you can also ask, oh, what do you think I'm good at?
Asking the right questions.
Yes, ask people,
Yeah.
What am I good at? If you really just want to just know more about yourself, sometimes people can help you, say, oh, you're good at this. They encourage you, and you pursue it, So it is definitely quite a journey. I'm not saying it's easy at all. It can be frustrating at times, especially when you see others who are sort of ahead of you, but you need to remember that, look, that journey is different from mine. I'm on my path, and I just need to focus on it, because that's the only way you can really, have success within that same path.
True. Oh, I just love what you said, Salome, that, we must learn to ask questions, but I think the most important thing to do is to ask the right questions.
Exactly.
What is your definition of purpose? Because I know this word is going back and forth. Everybody's talking about purpose, but what is your definition of purpose?
For me, my definition is basically your life's mission. What is your life's work? What is your assignment? Because I believe each of us do have an assignment on this earth, and it's up to us to sort of pursue that, and just try to figure it out as we go along through life. So, like I mentioned before, God has given us, each of us, unique set of skills, talents, gifts, and it's up to us to start utilizing them in a way that, we can contribute to the world in a positive way, So how do we now use that and contribute our time or our skills, whatever it is, in a way that we can impact society positively, So I always believe that for you to achieve greatness, you need to be able to use what you have, use what's within you, and use it for the benefit of others, basically in the form of service. So most people are trying to figure out, where do I then find my purpose? How do I achieve my own personal greatness? You have to now start looking, how can I serve? How can I serve others? And serving doesn't mean you have to be a waiter or whatever that people might find. Maybe that's what she means.
Do I have to go and work in a hotel?
Yeah, no, it's more like, how do I utilize what I've been gifted with in order to benefit others? How is it that I can use what I have in order to make a positive impact on those around me, on the lives of those around me, So I think that's also a start, Sometimes look in your community, try and, just check where is it that I'm good at and how can I, help others in the process, So for me, that's definitely what my definition would be, It's your life's mission, it's what it is, you've been assigned to do in a way that only you can do. As much as there are a lot of people who can be doing what we're doing. There's similar things that we're doing. I mean, a lot of people have women empowerment platforms and all that, but no one has what I have.
True.
And I'm not saying that to brag or anything. I'm just taking pride.
Powerful.
Yeah, I'm taking pride in what God has gifted me with, So I believe that whatever I put in out there it's so unique that no one else, no matter how they try, they can even try to copy word for word, but it will never
Come
take
out the
off.
same.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
as well as, you know, a mine might, you know. So that's why, you know, always just be authentic, you know, be true to yourself. That's the only way you can really discover who you are, because there's no one like you. I don't know if you've heard that statement that no one is you and that is your power.
That's so powerful.
You
I
know.
love that. You said,
No one is you and that is your power.
Your power. Who?
You know,
Powerful.
so really, if we just took the time to embrace who we are as individuals, just appreciate yourself, and just say, look, I might not have what she has, but I have something. I have something, and I know I can do something with this. You know, that can help somebody out there. Even if it's one person, you can start with one person.
That's okay. Now, Salome, a certified, qualified accountant, and you decide to leave. What was that like at home? I mean, you go to your mom and your dad and say, I'm quitting this because I want to start Women Up. What was that experience like for you? Was it easy for your parents to accept? Because I know that sometimes, you know, we tend not to make decisions because we're thinking, what is society going to say, you know?
And that's what holds a lot of people back, because you're always worried about what people think. I mean, I'm not saying if you have certain responsibilities like children and whatnot, then you should just up and leave. I mean, if it's not something that has been divinely instructed to you, then maybe you shouldn't. You know, you should maybe seek another way that you could make your dreams happen. That's why they always tell people, look, you can still work a 9-to-5 job, but still you can follow your dream when you, afterwards, you know, when you're home in the evening, you can work on it, even just bit by bit, you know, so that you still maintain, you know, your job. So I'm not encouraging people to leave. I'm just, you know, it was something I thought I needed to do. I believed I needed to do. And it wasn't an easy decision, of course, because, you know, you don't have that security anymore as at that time. And my parents, fortunately, they were very supportive of me. Of course, they were concerned, but, you know, I had their support, their full support. And in that process, I also discovered something about myself, that I could actually make money, you know, using my own gifts, you know, aside from what I had been called to do in terms of empowering women. I am also able to craft things with my hands. You know, I enjoy crafts. And sometimes you need to look at your childhood, look at things that you're interested in as a child. I remember I used to like paper. I used to like making little objects out of paper, but, you know, over time, you know, it just leaves you, you know, you lose interest, or you pursue other things, you know, that you deem more important. So I used to think, oh, I like crafts, I like making stuff, so, you know, I need to raise some money. And, you know, I mean, there's nothing worse than not being able to sustain yourself, you know. And as much as family is there, I thought, no, you know, I need to be able to stand on my own and be independent financially, you know. So I started to make these things, and it just, you know, came very naturally to me. And before I knew it, people wanted to buy them, you know.
More and more, and it became your business.
Yes, it became my side business, you know. So it's quite interesting that sometimes you feel like you are left with nothing if you don't have a job, you know, but you have something within you, even if it's something like baking or cooking.
There's a lot that one can do.
You know, that can actually help you to raise.
What is your truth?
My truth is, I believe that I have the power within me to achieve anything that I set my mind to achieve, as long as I stay true to who I am. So as long as I'm authentic, as long as I don't compare myself to anybody, as long as I just stay on my path and focus on it, then I can accomplish what God has set me out to do.
So Salome, thank you very much for coming on Ignite.
Thank you for having me, Mwangala.
And I'm sure we've ignited a lot of lives out there.
I believe so.
So for the people that are watching us, like my Facebook page, Mwangala C. Santos, for comments, for interactions, or any questions that you'd like us to answer for you. Remember, make every day count. Until we meet next time, this has been Mwangala Chakalashi Santos.